My brother pleaded and persuaded my mother and my other two sisters to go to the Comal River to escape the scorching heat one summer when the temperatures rose above 105 degrees. My mother was hesitant to accompany me, but she recognized the importance of getting away from Texas' oppressive heat. We visited the Comal River in New Braunfels, Texas. To cut a long tale short, hundreds, if not thousands, of Texan teenagers swarmed over the fence, ignoring the warning indications of danger. Some teenagers leaped around 20 feet into the river from the bridge. During that moment, the heat was intolerable. Consider folks walking barefoot on scorching rocks or a hot sidewalk, bouncing to avoid the sensation of burning bare feet. When I was approximately 10 years old, friends or family members may easily become separated by the river's currents and become lost someplace in the river. I was dragged to the side, grasped the sidewalk, and made my way to the ladder to get out. Then I looked for my brother or sister, but I couldn't find them. I walked to a nearby tiny dam that appeared less threatening than the first. I chose to walk over the small dam with a lot of water flowing over it. I guess the water flowing down was 4 to 6 feet high. Because the algae was so slippery, I walked and slipped down. I was a pretty good swimmer. I didn't panic, but I was conscious of the powerful current in the water. I tried to swim against the current and get away from the waterfall. I was caught in the undertow current and attempted to swim away. I couldn't figure out how to get out. I couldn't tell which way was up, down, right, or even left. I was terrified of what was happening to me and panicked. I yelled for aid in the water. My mind was on my mother and family. Water entered my mouth and my respiration came to a halt. My body was freezing and my mind had shut down on me. Everything around me was engulfed in darkness. I realized the door to my life was closing in on me. "Is that the death experience?" my body asked. "Is that all?" Then I went black. Then the ticking of electricity jolts reached my feet and swarmed all the way up to my head, and my body was in awe of the sensation. My life was immediately displayed in flashing increments of movie, rolling year by year, individual by individual. My first favorite flashback was when I was born and saw my mother's beautiful face for the first time. I had no idea how much my mom cared for me. The second flash was of me playing with my brothers and sisters and feeling close to them. The third flash was my father flinging my body up in the air, followed by much laughter and puzzlement. The rolls then got quicker and faster, and I felt stars bursting all over my head and body. It was unbelievable. Then I noticed a light at the end of the tunnel approaching me. My spirit or soul became entangled in the light tunnel. I took off through the light tunnel. Even today, I can recall how I felt. The only way I can describe it is that it felt almost exactly like the movie Contact, the new-built ball spacecraft plummeting down the giant gyrospace machine. The actress walked right through the tube and could view outside space with her ball space shuttle. That's what I noticed when I flew through the tunnel. In the tunnel's transparency, I could see a universe. It's an incredible feeling to fly down the tunnel at light speed. While floating approaching the boundary, I arrived at the boundary. I was amazed at how much weight was taken off my shoulders, such as the various absurd rules or laws forced on us. For the first time, I recognized how much we were enslaved by the government or society, and I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. And despite how bright, conscious of laws was, I couldn't find the perfect term to characterize the experience. It's similar to a hurricane, pushing all energy towards the storm's eye. It's almost as if I'm absorbing all of the knowledge and conscience of living beings into my body and mind. One instance was while I was approaching the boundary. No explanation was required for me to comprehend, at the age of 10, that once I crossed the line, I could never return. I was overjoyed to be across. I had planned to cross, but my forebears over another barrier drew my attention. They were communicating via telepathy, which piqued my interest. I was born profoundly deaf and grew up with hearing family members who all knew sign language. Through telepathic means, I could read or interact with roughly 20 ancestors of others and myself. It was overwhelming. I couldn't believe how many people I could telepathize with at the same time. I observed an unexplained community, scenery, and structures that were plainly made by a supernatural builder rather than by mankind. The mega city was almost immaculate in its perfection. My forebears showed me the ideal mega city. When I arrived at the boundary, one of my grandmothers, great-grandmothers, or maybe great-great-grandmothers was surprised and perplexed. They were all stunned and surprised when I arrived. They had not anticipated my arrival. They, on the other hand, welcomed me with open arms. "Why is he here?" said one of my ancestors. "Is he meant to be here now?" others inquire. I'm startled too. I expected this time would come soon, but not now, another burst in, shining with love and delight at my presence, and opened my eyes to our new future. I couldn't even put into words what I saw. Sorry, I'm at a loss for words. In a split second, "What are you doing here?" said an angel sternly. I was taken aback by his question. When I first saw my guardian angel, I knew he was there when my mother gave birth to me, that he shared my mother's joy, and that my birth was a fulfilled assignment in his listing. I was filled with inspiration as I stared at him. I was so near to him, but he pulled me away. "What happened?" he questioned telepathically. I didn't care what occurred since I was happy and full of love. I wanted to cross the line right immediately. My angel came up to me, examined me, and saw right through me that I had drowned. I was astounded that he knew by scanning through me without even speaking to me. "Your time is not up now," said my guardian angel empathically. "You still have some unfinished business. Return." I shrugged and tried to sneak up beside him at first. He moved quickly and extended his hand toward me. My body was being dragged backwards at breakneck speed. The tunnel's light raced out of my eyes, and I was smacked back into my body with such strong hands. I felt my body again, and I was perplexed as to why I was still in it. I awoke to find myself still in the water, and I had the impression that I had breathed in the water, which was not the case. "Stand straight and firmly," said a voice. I rose up straight and felt a large hand wrapped around my torso, pulling me out of the downward current, and my body was pushed to the edge of the country, where I seized possession. I stepped out of the water, and my lips drained all of the water from my body into the ground. I couldn't believe how much water got into and out of my body. My life and perspective were forever altered as a result. I knew I wouldn't be the same person after that. And for the first time, I saw my life ahead of me, and the emotions I had when spewing water out of my mouth hit me hard. I felt practically all of nature or people all around me and was filled with optimism and love. I never told my mother, brother, or sisters about what happened. Something deep within told me to be silent about the incident. All I could feel was a more illuminating vibe encircling me. The words to describe that extraordinary event are incomprehensible in an earthly sense. I had the impression that I was standing right next to the twilight door in the 6th or 7th dimension door of the future that was unfolding in front of me. I experienced a lot of visions and nightmares. Some were delightful, while others were horrifying. I'll end here. My parents, brother, and sisters, by the way, found out about my encounter when I was about 31 years old. I just felt it was the proper time to share my news. My mother was completely taken aback, and it hit her hard. My sisters glanced at me, hurried away, and hugged me. She couldn't picture her life without me. I simply grinned.